Hello, my name is Marc-André. I'm a developer at the ImpressCMS project. Welcome to the fourth session of the IPF Webcast. Today we will talk about object and handler. There are two very important classes at the root of the IPF. All the concepts of the IPF comes from those two classes, which are the ICMS Persistable Object and the ICMS Persistable Object Handler. So we have an object and an handler. Those two classes are the parents of all the IPF classes we are creating in other and any IPF modules. Um, Basically, it is very important to understand the difference between both. So the ICMS persistable object will represent a single object, an individual object, and its handler will in fact handle the objects. So for example, if we're taking the My Clients module we have been creating in the past IPF webcast sessions, in that module we are managing one kind of object, which are clients. So we will have a class for representing a single client, and we will have a class that will be the handler managing all the other clients' object. So let's demonstrate a few things. I have created a test.php file in the My Clients module. So let's have a look at it. Really simple to create a file or a page with an ImpressCMS. I've included the header.php in in this module. The header.php includes the main file. Main file is the first file that is loaded in ImpressCMS, and of course it's including the common file of my module of my client's module. And the common file does a few things to initiate the IPF and the module. We can discuss that in a later session, but for now, everything is set up to be able to start doing something. The other thing I need to do is to include ICMS root path header.php. This is what is kicking off the templating engine and a few other things that we need to actually work on ImpressCMS. And finally, we'll end that with including the footer.php of my module, of the My Clients module, and the footer.php does a few things, but basically it includes the ICMS root path footer.php, which outputs all the HTML to the browser of the user. So I'm set up, and I just called the ICMS debug. ICMS debug is a function that is used in ImpressCMS to help and do some debugging, and basically it outputs whatever we put in this parameter. So in our case, object and handler, object and handler. Okay, so I'm in the My Clients module. We have a few convention in IPF framework. First, the handler object will always be named by the name of the module, My Clients, underscore the item name, which is the object I want to manage. In our case, I want to manage client and underscore handler. And I'm going to create this handler calling ICMS get module handler. This is the function, the core function that allows me to retrieve an handler. Two parameters. The first one will be the item name, so I want to retrieve the handler of the client. And the second one would be optional. It would be the name of the module. So, for example, my clients. If you omit to put that second parameter, the IPF will look in what module you are, and it will assume that you want to create the handler for the module you currently are in. So in our case, we are in My Client, so we don't need that second parameter. So I've retrieved my handler. This object, this single object, will be handling all the other clients object. With this, I can fetch from the database the first client. So I have a client with client ID equals 1. Let's try and fetch that. So this will be an object representing a single client object. And the method we're going to use is get one parameter. What is the ID you want to retrieve? I want to retrieve the client number 1, for example. It's done. And then we're going to output something just to ensure we didn't make any mistakes. So we're going to output, oops, sorry. We're going to output, for example, the name of the client. And let's see what this does. And I have an error. Name. Name is not a method. It should be title, of course. Exactly. Title, my first client. So if we summarize client handler, this is the object representing my handler. It will be handling my clients. Client object is an object of the class of a class ICMS persistable object, and it's a single object representing a single client. Um, the ICMS persistable object have a few methods we can use to ease our life. So for example, the title method will always retrieve the identifier name of my object. When we first created that module, the My Clients module, we have defined that the client, the default field for the client would be, for example, the title. So if we're going just to show you in administration menu, I'm building my client, the client object. The object identifier field is name. So the field, the column in the database will be name, but in IPF, whenever we call the method title, it will always fetch the value of the field you have declared as the identifier field. In the same way, if you do ID, it will always retrieve the field, the column of the database, which is the primary key. In our case, it will be client ID. So it will output the value of this field. A few other interesting methods that are available with the ICMS persistable object, for example, are direct links. So client object, and let's call a method named get item view, get item link, like this. And it will create a link with the identifier name, so my first client, and a link directly to this client. Same thing we can do get edit item link. And it will be presented with an image of edition, and I can click on it and it will allow me to edit my client on the admin side.